add the stuff that you mentioned about the slides. I added an extra slide based on what you said. So,
Oh, cool.
if I've misinterpreted you, then that would be a great thing to check.
All right, perfect. So I did get a message saying it failed to go live, but I'm assuming we are live, just like yesterday.
Yeah, that happened in many of the sessions yesterday, but I've been reviewing them and they are streaming, and we do seem to have the recordings as well. So,
okay, all right. Well, we'll just assume we're live then. Hi, Laura, and hi, Junior.
Hi, Patrick. Hi, Sam.
So hi. So before we get rolling, just want to let you guys know that Tong Wei weighed in this morning, and she said she wasn't able to join the stand-up today, nor will she be able to do it on Friday, and then next week she's on holiday. So she's going to be back on the 24th of October. We'll see her then. And Sanja had a lot of personal things come up. She's been commuting to a nearby city, unplanned activity, et cetera, et cetera. So she says she's going to be out of station, as she puts it, for one more week. So maybe toward the end of next week or the beginning of the following week, we'll see her again. So both of them just let me know that they're not going to be present for a bit. So I thought I'd pass it on.
Thanks.
Sure. So anyway, why don't we start then? Sam, you were first. So other than myself, so you want to go first?
Sure. So yesterday, main things, coordinating with Lara. I think we made good progress on that PR. I did a dry run of my talk for the remote Rails conference, which is starting today, but I'm not talking until tomorrow. Quite pleased with that. Also, we hooked up the meetup. So we have a remote pair programming meetup that I'm a co-organizer of that's been kind of dormant recently, but there's still people joining it. And I was kind of thinking, can we connect the two? And so partly from doing the discussion from Async Vote in website 1 about how to connect it up, I did a manual connect up, and we now have a repeating remote pair programming event in Meetup that corresponds to the Kent Beck Scrum, which happens like in 5 hours from now. And I think Junior's here now. We very, very pleasingly got Junior in the Kent Beck Scrum yesterday, and he's doing stuff with Elman or Kummel, which is really, really interesting. And one of the main reasons I wanted to particularly jump in today was to ask people about would we, I mean, it's early days. I'm imagining we could link this Scrum, the Martin Fowler, and the specific thing to the meetup group. Don't have to discuss that now, but yeah, maybe at the end of the session we could have a little talk about whether it's, if that's good for the other Scrums as well as the Kent Beck.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Laura?
Hey, okay, so unfortunately I haven't had more time. I've been busy I was a bit hectic yesterday with client deliveries and this morning. So I am going to start writing the tests for the download resume tonight, my time. The one thing I did get a bit confused with is how do you know when to write RSpec test and when to write a cucumber test? But I found a lovely article which cleared that up for me. So I will do that tonight.
Okay. Well, any question on that, just chime in through Slack as well.
I will do.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you. And you don't need any more comments from me on your WIP PR at this point. I think we've got enough there to get you going. Okay.
Fine.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Junior, you want to give an update?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
I have just been getting used to everything, really, reading a lot of documentation, having a look through the website. Yesterday, I joined this the Async Voter Slack group. Put a couple of comments there. Last night, had the chat with you, Pat, and with Joao. And yes, my idea today is to go through the list of user stories that are already in the GitHub project, and maybe add some more stories for this Agile and for the Async Voter project.
Great, sounds good. Thanks for contributing. For myself, I did the typical review of PRs, I think 1 or 2. Just did a little review this morning, in fact. Did the project overview with Sigu yesterday. He's the fellow who's running a code camp in Kenya all by himself. Actually, he's the entire staff, which is pretty impressive. He's got his second cohort going right now. And I explored adding some Jasmine tests for our Pusher JavaScript functionality. Pusher is an external service that does updates to the client using WebSockets. It's kind of like Action Cable in Rails 5, run Rails 4. And I ran into some problems there having to do with order of loading of JavaScripts and external assets. I'll probably come back to that later. A little bit frustrating. And that's it for me for do today. So I guess that's it for the stand-up then. So Sam, do you want to go back and describe what you were proposing there? A little bit more detail. I'm not familiar with this meetup.
Yeah.
And what's happening there?
Yeah. I guess I'll just, I will do. Before we go, I'll just mention the async voter project that Junior was talking about there. I'm really glad that you've joined in there, Junior, and we've got various people. I'll be trying to spend some time coordinating that today. For people who don't know the async voter project, it's a new project we're starting up to try and coordinate doing async voting on stories, which we've been doing kind of manually in the local support and website one projects. And I think it's been working quite well. I mean, logistically, it's totally ripe for being automated, but I think it's a great lightweight way of getting people involved in stories. Not everybody can always make it into a hangout, and it sort of it leaves a trace of the discussion in the Slack channel that you don't always get if all the voting is being done in a hangout. Not that we want to stop voting in hangouts, but I think it's great to be able to support both of those things. I'm also really excited about how voting on stories like refactoring tickets kind of gets people. Oh, it's just there's so much goodness there. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, you can watch my talk for me, dribbling about all of that good stuff. Going back to the so that's that. And Junior, you and I can talk a bit more if we need to once people have moved on. Just about this meetup thing. Let me just share my screen. Here we go. Here comes the screen. Yeah. So this is the meetup group, and everybody can see my. So this has been going for quite a while. This remote pair programming group. It's started by Jonathan Kressner, who's the founder of AirPair, and I think he's based in the West Coast in San Francisco. I did done some collaboration with him back in the day, but this has been going for a long time. I used to kind of publicize certain particular events for the MOOC here, but over the last 2 years, I would say there pretty much almost hasn't been any meeting. I had been following so some people had just spontaneously said, let's have a beginner Ruby pair programming thing in here. And there was a lot of conversation, but it never got as far as actually working out a date where these people would get together. So I've kind of in the back of my mind been thinking, can we somehow connect with this? And what I did yesterday was I basically created this, Kemp Beck Scrum and pair hookup. And this is now, I've got an edit button there. Yeah, I've edited this. I've got this set up to, where's the repeat? Yeah, to automatically mirror our Kemp Beck Scrum. So the meetup, everybody's familiar with Meetup, right?
I am, yeah.
Yes, actually, I can give you a bit of background here. I actually am a member of this particular group, the pair programming group, and I think what has been going on lately is that I myself, for example, added a comment there when I was learning a bit of JavaScript and React, and said, I'm looking for somebody to pair program, and what they do is they just ping me directly. So there's no really communication afterwards in the meetup directly in the website. So you don't see a lot of communication there. So you don't know what the people really are doing, and that's maybe why it's not updated. Because, for example, I did a meetup with this guy. A pair programming with this guy, and then continued offline, talking to him directly, and then we did a couple more afterwards. So yeah, we don't go back to the website to then update it to say we did this or whatever. So
yeah, no, that makes well. That's great to hear that people are actually getting some value and meeting and connecting there. Yes, I guess the thing from our point of view, Agile Ventures is that a bit like sort of a critical mass thing. If there's slightly more visibility of the people meeting, and if we have, I mean, this was originally like back when Jonathan Kressner was not so focused on airpair, and or when it was initially starting. I mean, he's now moved on maybe to other things, but he would run kind of weekly, like a big event, and try and get 30 people together, and then have them all do a big sort of like pairing explosion afterward, which I thought was a very clever way to do it, because whenever you run any kind of event, you know, if 20 people say they're going to show up, you probably only get 5. So often if you're trying to arrange one-to-one pairing sessions, they kind of fall through. Whereas if you can get a load of people together, then you can kind of, you know, make something happen. And that's sort of what our scrums, as well as for people checking in, like to talk about what they're doing on projects and get help getting unstuck and so on. You know, the Modern Fowler, Kent Beck, Pacific scrums are a chance for people to meet up and start doing pairing. So yeah, that's I was, you know, very, very pleased to make Junior's acquaintance. I think if I hadn't done that connection with the meetup group, probably that wouldn't have happened yesterday, would it, Junior?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, good stuff.
So yeah, the intent here is to pull in people outside of the AV circle to get involved with remote pair programming, or
yeah.
So in addition to that, though, we'd have a regular Kent Beck Scrum. We'd talk about AV projects underway for 15 minutes, and then we would enlarge the decision to see who else joined and what their pair programming wishes were, and then, as you put it, explode into one-on-one pair programming sessions. Is that what would happen?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I think it's probably not. We can't perfectly predict what would happen. I mean, I think that the intention is as you kind of say, it's sort of to let more people know that these that there are regular AV hangouts like this that everybody's welcome to check out. They don't actually have to join. They can just, you know, we while I met Junior last night, I think there were 3 or 4 people who were watching the stream, and it's just to sort of, you know, expose it. And, you know, in the best case, some of those people who see it might like what they see and might hang out and might become more involved in Agile Ventures and do more pair programming. Yeah. So yesterday evening, we also had Sasha and Troy join, and then actually Sasha and Junior spent some time looking at some code together after that I had to run off. But that's sort of, you know, I label these things as sort of Scrum and pair hookup. So it's sort of the first 15 minutes is the coordination thing, and then it's like, is anybody free to do any pairing? And yeah, that's kind of the idea.
Okay, cool. Are you proposing that we convert this Martin Fowler Scrum to include the pair programming integration?
Well, I guess what I'm saying in the first instance is I've done this for Kent Beck, that I've put that on there, and I think probably we should leave that as it is, and see, you know, how that goes over the next week or so. But I kind of wanted to mention that I was doing that, and then also, I mean, something to consider about whether we would want to do that with the Pacific Rim or the Martin Fowler Scrums. I think actually the Pacific Rim, what I'm aware of is that these, you know, well, these hangouts that we do, the Martin Fowler and Kent Beck, are not fantastic times for people based on the West Coast, and I think a good proportion of the people in this the RPP group are on the West Coast. So actually, it's probably more of a proposal for the Pacific Rim thing. Yeah, it's I guess from your idea, the key thing I'm going to for you, Pat, is does it sound like exciting to have lots more people kind of like observing and watching and joining, or maybe it's actually the Martin Fowler is better to keep it. You know, obviously 3 days a week there's a big focus on Met Plus. Maybe it's better to keep it small rather than linking out to, you know, although it could help get more people in to work on Met Plus. So
yeah.
May I ask? Sorry, Patrick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just had a question about the naming of the scrums. You know, what is Kent Beck and Martin Fowler? What is the difference?
Yeah. Well, so you probably know Kent Beck and Martin Fowler, 2 of the Agile Manifesto signatories.
I know the names. Sure. I'm not quite sure how it relates to.
Well, the 2 scrums were originally called like Euro Asia Scrum and Atlantic Scrum. And there was a thing, partly because of the time zones that they were corresponding to, and most of where in the world people were coming from. There was a thing where the Eurasia Scrum had a lot of people from Africa, and there was kind of a thing we were saying, like, you know, Eurasia, are you kind of excluding the Africa thing? And so I was considering renaming it to Euro Asia Africa Scrum, and it was kind of like, but actually, really, you know, if you're awake at that time, we don't care where in the world you are. It shouldn't be, kind of, we shouldn't be like imposing a regional thing on it. So it was just like, well, okay, if we're not going to name them based upon a location, what are we going to name them on? And I, at the time, was particularly excited about Martin Fowler and Kent Beck. And I said, well, hey, we should, name them after these people who, at least personally, I really look up to. I mean, I think that I don't know if anybody saw the TDD is dead debate between Kent Beck and Martin Fowler and David DHH, the founder of Rails, a year or two ago. I thought that was, was really inspired. And I kind of wanted to sort of say, I wanted to raise the profile of those people, because not everybody knows who they are. And I think, reading Martin Fowler's refactoring book and Kent Beck's XP book is kind of like, should be de rigueur for anybody who's involved in Agile Ventures. But if that makes any sense.
All right. Okay. So for the context of here, there's no difference really. So it's a Scrum, and afterwards we can do some pair programming.
Yes, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm totally open to like alternate. I mean, I think Thomas was like, we shouldn't be like idealizing these particular individuals. It's all about the team, not about the individual. So we could rename them. Yes, the difference tends to be the people who are awake at those times. So you get it. And then also what had happened recently is we kind of, the Met Plus team were running a separate Scrum, and I suggested merging that, for like more people getting together, and we did that. So there's kind of a particular focus on the Met Plus project on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Although, as it happens, as Patrick was saying at the beginning, that sort of a couple of the main Met Plus people are not available at the moment. So we've ended up having a more general chat.
Yeah. Okay.
So as far as go ahead.
Go on. No, it's fine. Sorry.
That's okay.
Still a lot of questions. Still learning a lot.
No, it's all good. For this particular Scrum, I was thinking that there must be other AV projects underway that have their own unique, dedicated Scrums that involve people in largely Europe or Africa or wherever, or Asia. I wonder if we can combine other project Scrums into this and make it more broader. I mean, going through Met Plus, it doesn't take forever. We could have 2 or 3 AV projects underway, all being discussed here.
Yes.
That's thought number 1. And thought number 2 is, you're absolutely right. The Pacific/US Scrum is ripe for that. I think, it's only Met Plus, and there's only 2 or 3 of us on that. Nobody else joins. We were hoping that other US-based people would join. They would see it, but it hasn't happened. And it's 5:15. That would be, what, 2:15 California time? So it's not too bad. We might pull in some people. I'm saying combining that with the meetup, I think makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
We'd have to check with Hugh. Hugh is the PM for Met Plus.
Sure.
He presides over that Scrum typically, but I don't think he'd have a problem with that either.
Yeah. Well, indeed, and I think maybe you're more likely to be in that one, so maybe you might. I'll chat to him in Slack.
I'll check with him this afternoon.
Yeah. Cool. No, that's great. Just for your first point there, are there other groups that have their own separate Scrums? And I think that there have been, like the OSRA project of a time, which was for helping the Syrian orphans. They liked having their own separate Scrums. For a lot of the other projects that I've been involved in, partly because I'm involved in the big picture Agile Ventures, I've tried to kind of bring the things together. I mean, we used to have, there were periods where we had very, very, very busy Scrums, and we would have 10 plus and people couldn't get in, and we were kind of going around on every project. I mean, there's kind of a balancing act between, what's the sweet spot where, if you're there to hear about a particular project rather than just to hear about everything that's going on, then there's a different dynamic. So, I mean, I think all of the existing Scrums could probably benefit, like, from great people like Junior, 1 or 2 additional people jumping in and so on. I guess, yeah. So.
Yeah, to me, it's a great opportunity to learn. I mean, a Scrum is very specific to the project, that's what they discuss. However, for instance, I think one of website 2 is using Ionic for a mobile app.
It's a Project Unify, yeah.
Project Unify, yeah. And I'd like to just listen in on how that's going. But contextually, I'll learn stuff by osmosis, So
absolutely,
I wouldn't mind that.
Cool.
But anyway, if they're amenable to that, I think joining other projects with this would make sense.
Good stuff. Good. Well, great chatting with you guys about that. I guess we've done the Scrum. We've done a post-Scrum chat. Junior, did you want to talk more about async vote? Lara, did you need me for anything for local support? Anything else before we wrap up?
No, I just did another tutorial this morning on local support that I just went through. just to look at how we can bring the headers in, tab headers in.
Cool. Great stuff.
Yeah,
Great
from my
stuff.
side, nothing really. Like I said, I will read a little bit more on the project, have a look at the user stories, see if I can add a couple more.
Sure.
I'll try to link up with Joao and
Yeah.
see where we go from there.
Excellent. All right. Great stuff, guys.
All right.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Everybody have a good evening or day. Bye now.
You too.
Cheers.
Ciao.